The day of the world's oil lifeline choked how long before the global economy runs dry? What was once dismissed by energy analysts as an unlikely worst case scenario has suddenly turned into a real geopolitical stress test for the entire planet. As tension in the Middle East escalate into open confrontation, the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow maritime corridor through which roughly a fifth of the world's oil supply flows, is facing severe disruption. The moment that choke point begins to falter, the global energy system immediately enters crisis mode. In the public debate, two extreme narratives usually dominate. One predicts economic apocalypse with oil prices skyrocketing beyond control, while the other insists that global stockpiles are so vast that the world can run comfortably for years without disruptions. Reality, however, is far more complicated and far less reassuring. The true picture of global oil security is hidden not in a dramatic headline, but in the quiet arithmetic of supply chain, storage capacity, and logistics. At the start of the 2026, estimates from international energy agencies suggest that the total above ground oil inventories across the world sit in somewhere between roughly 8.5 and 9 billion barrels. One paper that may sound enormous, but the structure of these reserves reveals a much tighter margin than most people realize. A critical portion of this oil sits in strategic petroleum reserves controlled by governments, emergency stockpiles designed specifically for moments of war, geopolitical shock, or supply collapse. Countries across the OECD, including the United States, major European economies, and Japan, collectively hold around 1.8 billion barrels in these strategic systems, often stored deep underground in vast salt caverns or in heavily guarded storage facilities. In theory, these reserves are the most flexible and reliable buffer the global economy possesses because they can release directly into the market during emergencies. Yet, even these stockpiles are not a permanent solution, they are a temporary stock absorber designed to buy time while the markets adjust. Beyond those government reserves lies another massive but more complicated category: commercial oil inventories owned by corporations, refineries, and trading companies. Particularly across developed economies, OECD industrial reserves alone account for nearly 2.8 billion barrels. But unlike strategic reserves, this oil is already embedded in the daily machinery of the global economy, feeding refineries, fulfilling contracts, and maintaining steady fuel supplies for transportation and industry. Much of it cannot simply be dumped onto the market overnight without disrupting production chains or refinery operation. This creates a crucial constraint. While the world technically holds billions of barrels in storage, only a portion of that oil can be rapidly mobilized during a sudden supply shock like a disruption in the Strait of Hormuz.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.